Good morning, watchers. Today we are having to fix, it's a bit of an emergency, well, not really an emergency, life will go on if I don't fix it, but our garage door got stuck yesterday and I attempted a repair which actually worked out quite well, but the door now doesn't close properly, kind of gets stuck. So we're going to go downstairs, take the motor off and investigate why there could be an issue. Hope you enjoy this little journey. I've never fixed a garage door before. I've never owned one. This is the first time that I've ever had to try and fix one. So let's see if we can fix it. How are we doing? We're good? We're good? Yeah, we're good. Okay. Feels like I should have done something else. And maybe I should have done something else. Today we are going to take a look at this garage door and I'll walk you through some of the finer points. Let's get stuck into it. Okay, so this is the garage door. It's actually in a different position than it was yesterday, and you can see here, I'll try and point that out. This is what I did. I basically, this end part buckled and came off, broke all of the rivets. So I then went in there and re-riveted it more times than needed, and then the door could actually roll up. And I think I got the alignment wrong because it's not folding correctly. So once I got this motor off, I'm going to have to probably take this entire thing off to then get it attached to the door properly, but that in itself is going to be difficult. But I will show you what it looks like when we close the door. You can see there the door has kept on going. So you can see here that this bar here should actually be hard up against this part. The garage door has been getting worse over time, but the morning before I filmed that, we were lowering the garage door and we heard a big thud, and we couldn't see initially what was wrong with it until I unspooled the door and basically just pulled it down and saw the bar had broken off. Now that bar is more of a guide rail. It protects the door as it folds up, just so it doesn't get caught. That wasn't really the problem. It was more of a symptom of a bigger problem. One side of the door is correctly wound in the right place, but when the garage door essentially broke, it allowed the spring inside to actually click over. So I tried to click it back and I basically couldn't. So I just riveted it together and hoped that it was going to work. But unfortunately, that did not do anywhere near enough. And it is buckled, completely buckled. Come around there where it should be. Nice and smooth, and you can actually see it from this direction. It's completely buckled here and then bent over this way. It should have stopped to stop this continuous rolling, but it didn't. So I'll just open it because I need to prop it up somehow. The door goes up fairly well, but it's still not right. A couple of tires, that'll stop it from falling all the way down again. What we have to do here is we need to take these two bolts off and these two bolts off. I can't even see my these two off, and then come around the side and then loosen this bolt off, and then this garage door will come off. I've done this yesterday, so I know what to do at least. It's actually the adjustment that I couldn't do. No matter how much I tried to adjust it, it wouldn't work. Taking this motor off doesn't take too long. It's about 4 bolts. You see I've got gloves on, a lot of sharp metal edges. I don't really want to cut myself, and of course you can get tetanus. If you don't know what tetanus is, just keep your gloves on. Stay away from rusty metal. 13 mil for these nuts, 12 mil for the U-bolt, 10 mil for the bolt around the other side. And I don't know why you would use so many different types of bolts. I always hoped that someone would invent an open-end spanner that you can put on there and then ratchet like these ones here. But I have not been able to find them. I think they exist.
Oh yeah, they exist. There's quite a lot of them. I simply just didn't have the forethought to search for a ratchet open-ended spanner. I don't know what I was searching for in the time before, but they're out there and I'm actually looking to buy some. So if you know of any ones that are really good to buy, especially for working on cars, because they're really great in tight spaces, just let me know down in the comment.
Because I tell you, it's always a pain to try and get this type of thing. Like, it would be good to be able to just do that. Okay, there we go. And off it comes. So now we'll go up to the workshop and take this apart further and see what comes of this. How about I do that? I would close the door, but unfortunately it is quite warm. Okay, here we go. We have this garage door. I'm actually kneeling on the ground so you can see what I'm seeing. This is a 230 volts, 50 hertz, 1/3 horsepower. 1/3, is that how you would pronounce it? 3.5 amps, which makes that what? One what? Don't know what my now the panels here, they come off with, there's 2 screws on either side. There's this module here, and that's basically it. We will start taking this apart. Sebastian's not important when it comes to machinery, because I don't like getting my hands too dirty. We're going to be wearing gloves. I have had this screwdriver for about a year now. It's one of those electrical ones, but the amazing thing about a screwdriver like this is that it's got like this tri-lobe here, and it means that when you put your finger there and you're turning, man, you get some, firstly you get a lot of purchase, but you can also get a lot of twisting motion. I really like them, and I wish I could find more of them. Okay, I'm not going to adjust anything in here because, to be perfectly honest, there is nothing to adjust. I think the motor's underneath there and the gearing is here. There's this switch here. This switch is a left hand, right hand, and I found out this morning that that's actually for the spring. So on a garage door opener, there's obviously a spring. The spring that's in ours is in the central part of the garage door thing, so you can't actually see it unless you unwind the entire door. There's a high possibility that it is broken. There is also again another left hand, right hand switch here. I don't know why there's 2 and so close together. One's on one side, one's on the other. Which makes me think that this is an additional module. I may be able to take this off without doing too much. Well, it comes off one side, which is good. Well, look at that. broken piece. I did hear this when I was moving this unit from downstairs to up here. I could hear this rattling. I finally figured out what the rattling is. It's whatever this is. And I'll be honest, this is the problem. Well, that's my assumption anyway. We'll test these switches to see if all of that is good. It's a pretty simple unit. That was another piece of noise. I don't like that. I don't like it when you hear noise. Was that something else? Ah. This may be a part of something else as well. This looks like a piece of plastic. Oh, that could be for the light. Because the light has a, yeah, I'd say that's for the light. Okay, so we've got a, this was the piece that was floating free. I don't know whether it's orientated in the right way, but I will try and look for pictures of that online. This here affects the two limit switches, and it clearly was, it was basically, it had fallen off. It's pretty loose on there, and it's probably going to fall off again. But I'll check these two micro switches, or two limit switches, because if they aren't working, then this gears is going to keep going, and this is going to slam into either end, and that's probably what causes it to fall off.
I'll do my best to explain how these limit switches work. When the electric motor is engaged, it basically spins a whole series of gears, and you can see that circular gear down the bottom of the mechanism that's also spinning, and it's then meshing with that triangular shaped gear, which then in turn turns that fine threaded screw. Then the plastic piece goes up and down, and when it goes too far up, it engages that limit switch, and when that limit switch hits, or it will turn the motor off on either direction. If it goes up, it turns the motor off. If it goes down, it also turns the motor off. So having that piece fall off and just sort of sit there in space was stopping the garage from stopping. Is that the right term? It meant that when the garage motor was going, there was essentially nothing to stop it. So what would happen is the garage door would come down and just keep going. There is a sensitivity adjustment, which we will look at soon. If the electric motor is working too hard, it will turn off. And that's the thing that was stopping the electric motor, not the limit switch, which had fallen off. Hopefully I've explained that okay.
There are sensitivity adjustments here, which I also want to look at. And they are also screws, which is good because I was screwing these in and out and I couldn't get it to do anything. I can see that there's one in each place. I'll just turn them so they're definitely moving. There's like a, it's not a centrifugal clutch, it's a tension clutch or a tension spring around the motor, and that's what causes it to stop if it feels some force. It's like stopping the door opening or stopping the door closing.
It's pretty hard to see there, but when you look at it, you can kind of figure out how it works. In this case, thankfully, there was nothing wrong with them. They weren't broken, and their adjustment worked perfectly fine.
Now, I couldn't adjust it, which makes me wonder, the reason why I couldn't adjust it is because there is something wrong with the electronics. So we'll test these limit switches, and if the limit switches are working, we'll turn it on and we'll see if we can activate any of those switches. This is my multimeter. It's a pretty simple multimeter. If you don't know how to use a multimeter, I am not an expert, but I do know some basic functions. I mainly use multimeters for continuity and testing direct current voltage. I've never tried, well, I tried AC once and I blew something, blew a fuse. So I actually did that not so long ago. So I'm never going to do that again because it frightens the absolute bejeebers out of me. I set this to continuity, which I think that's it there, maybe. Once I set it, I always test it. I test it and it doesn't do anything. Have I just set it incorrectly? I've definitely put it in the right place. Okay, so when I hear that, I know I'm in the right zone. So for this one, I had to change the function. It's a bit annoying, really. But anyway, that's what we're dealing with at the moment. We are going to get this to beep. None of these should be working. I'm testing the force ones first. So that's open, sorry, that's closed, and that's open. And open is nothing. So I'm just going to hold it and then... So that one works. I'm pretty certain that that one works perfectly fine. I tested all 4 limit switches and every single one of them worked perfectly fine. Now, somewhere along the line, I recorded it and it's gone missing. Or maybe the data eater ate it. Data eater ate it. Ugh. But if you'd seen that video, you would have seen me plug the motor in to the wall, and I basically did a bench test and saw that everything worked as it should. So I took it back downstairs to reinstall it, hoping that it was going to work. Because part of the reason why this is broken is because when you close it, it goes all the way down and keeps going. I think what the problem was, the little piece of plastic fell off. I've put the piece of plastic back on and it should fix it. So we'll see what happens when we install it. Putting this back together is relatively simple. The only difficult part here is actually you've got to hold the motor in place and then get the screws in. And a few of the screws, they lined up okay, but it was still pretty hard to get them in whilst holding this fairly heavy motor. And I nearly fell. It's painful. So I continued to struggle. I managed to get the motor on and one of the screws in by a few threads, which was enough for me to put the remainder in. There is one screw around the back that's actually a little bit hard to get. These garage door openers are probably from the late 80s, early 90s, that's my guess. And we have a very similar unit in the other garage door. Gauge it. And then I had to adjust the limits of the door. I had to adjust the high limit, so when the door goes up, when does it stop the motor? And then in the reverse, when the door goes down, when does the motor stop when the door's fully down? The adjustment can get a little bit fiddly because it seems like there's a little bit of lag there, but definitely it was better than what it was before. And it seemed as though the more I rolled them up and down, the less it seemed to twist. It's like the spring has managed to get the garage door back into place. All done. That looks like it's all good. Now that I know how it works, I can fix it in the future. And the cool thing about it is now I can go and look for a remote control. And the locking bar kept on flying out. I had to put it back in.
I think I might have even done something else because it does keep falling out. I don't know whether I fixed that. And that's it. The garage door has been fixed. I was actually quite surprised I fixed it in just that afternoon. I thought this would be like a new garage door opener and then I'd have to replace the door. But it was that one little plastic piece that had fallen off. Well, I hope this has helped you if you've got a similar issue with your garage door. I did actually end up buying a remote for my garage door. It looks like a car remote. Unfortunately, sometimes I accidentally hit that button and then the garage door opens and I drive away having no idea. The neighbor calls up and goes, "Hey, Sebastian, your garage door is open." And of course I'm halfway to Hamilton, wherever Hamilton is for you. It's quite a distance for me. Wow, 2 hours. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you liked it, and if you did, put a bit of a thumbs up on that like, and if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. It would really be appreciated. Until next week, you have a great week, and we will see you next week. Oh, but before I go, what's going to happen next week? Table in, and I could see all the little water spots falling on the equipment. I was like, just having some pasta. This may not be the best project to watch if you want it all to happen in one go. Anyway, we'll see you next week.